Okay, so anyhow, yep, here we are, right on top of Christmas, ain't we? We sure are. Here it is, a Sunday already. As time flies by, and we got another year getting closer to winding down and being done with another year. And it seems like the older we get, the faster time goes. Sneeze and the year will be gone before you know it. But here I am, okay? I wanted to come up here today and do a little bit of rant, a little bit of talk, a little bit of chat, okay, on what's going on in today's society, which we all know what's going on, right? So here we are at the end of 2018. I see Steve Hoka popped up again with a video today. That was cool. That was nice, okay? He said some good stuff in that video. I want to address a little bit about that as well. You know, um, he talked about his career and he talked about how he goes out in the field and how he sees what he sees going on around him. And I'm going to stand with him on that one because, unfortunately, the truth of the matter is, what Steve's seeing is probably pretty accurate, okay? And I'd have to say, when you're talking about how come you don't see TFLers out in the community, out in society, you do, but you don't know when you do because they're not going to go out and advertise it, okay? And that's really what's going on. Most TFLers are not going to go around and advertise it. And the other fact is, why does it seem that Steve would go to home after home and do repairs, and it'd always be somebody that's married or a woman with kids or blah, 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 blah? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that, okay? But you got to figure in the average, the majority of men that are living TFL, if they're young guys, 18 to 20 and so on, they're probably still living at home with their parents, okay? And if you get somebody 30, 40 years old that's living TFL and been living it any length of time, they're most likely living in an apartment. They're living somewhere where techs like Steve wouldn't be called to go fix because they have on ground maintenance. They have boiler systems in some of these apartment buildings that heat the buildings. Okay, so it's just one of them things. It really is. But overall, yeah, he's correct. The majority of TFLers ain't going to go frequent a theme park by themselves. Not all, but some, and some TFLers will. They'll be with their family. They'll go to a theme park with their family. And they'll be at the theme park with their family. Okay, that's just the way it is. Believe me, there's no shortage of TFLers. There's no shortage of men who aren't able to get a date. And even when you get men that do get a date, once you see the truth in society, how people are treating each other, what do you think? I don't know this? Do you think I accidentally, Steve said it so correct. I lived TFL clear up to the time I was 28 years old. Okay, my son's mother came into my life through my brother. No lie. This is how I met her. Okay? And I was with her for a lot of years. I will give you that. I really was. But then when she decided to go out and do her thing and she decided to change and everything became drama and she could go out there and she could do whatever she wanted and I was supposed to be the guy on the side that she could go screw whoever she wanted, She could go screw around me, be with somebody else. And then I was supposed to just, she'll cry and beg me to forgive her. And this is what she done. Now, for my son's sake, I went ahead and forgave her for the first time, a second time, and then there was strike three. And strike three, you were out. And with strike three, I ended it. Yes, I'm the one that ended that marriage. I'm the one that divorced her. It don't mean that I didn't love her, because guess what? I did love her. I was with her for a lot of years, and my heart was with her. And I dearly, truly loved her, okay? There's no lie about that. But I still ended it because I was being treated lower than a piece of dirt on the ground. I was watching the person I loved and was married to, I had my child with, flirt with other guys right in my face. And if I tried to flirt with her, she got angry, upset, pissed off, yelled, screamed at me, and told me she grew up and she don't flirt no more while she was flirting with other guys right in my face. Okay, see, so you people don't understand how lucky sometimes you are not to be with somebody, to not have somebody in your life, because our society is really messed up. People do not know how to treat one another, you know. And now let's just talk about this Helen Smith for a little bit. I did this reply to Pastor Dell's video the other day on a live stream, and I had to talk about that. Now, Pastor Dell's video was a reply basically to her, and he gave his opinions and his thoughts, okay? And he believes men are stepping away from marriage now. I am only going to say this about that. Two men out there who see and understand the corruption in our society and how we are treating one another, okay? And for men who understand this and see this, that don't want to go there, that don't want to get involved, there is a percentage of men that will be this way, but I don't think the number is very high. It really isn't. I think it would be a low number if you could get an accurate count on it. For men who have chose to go their own way, that's never had a woman. I do believe there probably are some, but I don't think it's a very many, okay? In a whole, I don't think it's very many. I'm going to stick with the majority of men going their own way online are fraudulent, phonies, fakes. They're not going their own way. I guess one person said, yeah, they'd be one blowjob away from not going their own way. And that's how I'm going to stick with that, because that's basically the truth in your face. It really is. Now, why they seem to think that nobody else knows this, or we can't see that, or I can't see that, I'll tell you what, I do see right through it. I see right through it. Now, some of the stuff that Steve talked about is so true when it comes to Jared, when it comes to staying insane. You know, staying insane amongst the insanity was the only guy I know besides myself that came on the scene. He came on the scene, what, 2.5, 3 years ago or whatever. I'm not saying an exact time, but within and around that ballpark somewhere. He came on the scene, but he is the only other person I know of outside of myself that talked about NWO, the political arena, and the dating scene, and tied the dating scene right to the corruption where it came from for social engineering. He talked about TFL, he talked about the dating scene, and he talked about the political end. Until he came along, I literally was the only person that ever talked both topics, no lie, on the net. And that's fact, okay? Them, just like Jared, staying insane. I guess that's why his name does fit him, doesn't it? He's staying nuts. He's staying out of his mind. Just like Jared, he took all of his videos down. And then he came up and denies blah, 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 whatever, and starts attacking the very entity that he spoke out against. So you got doublespeak, you got BS coming out of his mouth. He's not somebody who's credible anymore. He lost his credibility when he done that. So, you know, he lost my respect. He lost all credibility. I give him no credit for anything he's ever done now. He has slaughtered himself as far as I'm concerned. He don't need to worry about enemies. He needs to look in the mirror if he wants to see his enemies. Because every time he looks in the mirror, he will see his enemies himself. There's nothing you can do to help people like that. I sort of like Steve's term for people like that, him and Jared. I'm still stand with Steve on that one. I like that term. Yes, I didn't say that. Steve did, and it's awesome. I stand with him on it, okay? But the thing is this. It doesn't change the fact that the problem is really going on. It doesn't change the facts at all, okay? It never has and never will. You got some people who've gone overseas. There's this guy here that's gone over to Thailand or whatever you call it. He's gone overseas and he's moved there, or he's visiting there for now or whatever. And he's got himself a girlfriend or whatever from that area that he's associating with, and he's making videos while he's there. That's cool. I'm happy for him that he was able to do it. But I also understand the reality is the failure of most people who go overseas is they don't come back and tell people how much it's going to cost. They don't tell people the kind of money they're going to have and what they're going to have to go through with the Department, Homeland Security. No shit. Okay? And getting the approval and all the red tape and all the money that you're going to be spending. Winston Wu never touched this. He stayed away from it. Okay? Winston Wu was the spoiled rich kid who was born into wealth. The majority of TFLers in our society were not born into wealth. Okay? And would never have the money to do this to begin with. And if they could get the money, they would save for a long time to do so in today's society. So people don't talk about that. They don't talk about the truth of what that costs. And then they don't bring up the fact that what you're doing is you're taking women away from men in their own culture, in their own country, because you failed to get one in your own country. So you're taking women away from the men over in their country. Okay, nobody wants to talk about that. You're helping to destabilize their society. NWO, global, it's going on everywhere. But overall, men, look at the reality of this social engineering. Men actually have men to blame. It's no lie. It's fact. Because what do we see going on? I've witnessed it with my own eyes on more than one occasion in my life. Placing the female gender on a pedestal from the time they're born. The family has a girl or a boy in it, and you watch the majority, not all times, but the majority of time, if you could be in that home, you will discover that the female child is getting privileged treatment over the boy, the male child, in most cases. Of course, that's not 100% across the board. Remember that, okay? But in most cases, in the majority of cases, the female, from the time she's a child, gets pampered by the mother and the father. And the boy gets thrown under the bus over and over and over again. And watches his sister get this special treatment while he gets thrown under the bus. He gets thrown under the bus. While he gets programmed to the social engineering machine. And what we've done there is we've created an epidemic of narcissist, psychopathy, self-entitlement issued women. No lie. That's exactly what we created. Because that feeds into power and greed. You spoiled this little girl from the time she was a little girl up, and she now grows up believing because you have a penis, you owe her a living, even if she's in the work site. And I've seen women make this statement themselves. They're with a guy. I'm working, my money that I get from work is for me. I'm not paying the damn bills. That's your job. You're the man. Now, man up and take some responsibility and support me. I'll do something for you when I feel like doing something for you. But meanwhile, you will do for me. If you want to be with me, that is. And you know how many guys are going to fold for that? See, I don't fall for that, won't fold for that, won't go there with them. The first time a female tells me the shit that I've seen them tell other guys that I've watched females do, in my own face, I'm going to let the door hit her on the ass on the way out and not even look back. Okay? Because I'm not going to go there with him. No, not at all. Because, guess what? I don't owe him a living. No, not whatsoever. I don't owe this female a living. I don't owe her nothing. She don't owe me nothing, and I owe her nothing. That's where this comes from. And this is exactly how I am. And here's a little news for people that haven't had a female in your life. You know how they got the hit list, females, and not all females, of course, but the female writes up a list of expectations that they want from a man. That's a red flag. If that female has a list of expectations, lose her immediately. You will never please her because as fast as you meet the first list before it's even done, she's already wrote the second list. It will never end. You will never get respect, and she will never give you credit for what you do for her because she believes you owe it to her through entitlement issues, through social engineering. If you follow where I'm coming from here, she will actually believe that you owe that to her when you don't owe that to her at all. Okay, that's just where it comes from. But she will actually believe that because of entitlement issues, because of our society. So I get fired up when I see men, families, pampering their little girls and placing their little girls on pedestals and throwing their little boys under the bus. I got a family member in my own family who has a boy and a girl. Both of them are really young. Who is doing that exact thing I just said. Placing his little daughter on the pedestal and throwing his little boy under the bus. And you know what? He don't even know he's doing it. And you know why he don't know he's doing it? Because of social engineering. He perceives what he's doing as normal. That there's nothing wrong with what he's doing. This is how he perceives it. But there is something wrong with what he's doing. He's creating a little girl that's going to grow up with self-entitlement issues, who's going to become very narcissist, and to any guy she's hooked up with, he's going to be nothing more than a pawn, a slave to be used, and then dumped and thrown away when she's done with him. This is what he's creating. And now that's my own family member, and I hate to say that about him. I really do. I like him, but I don't have respect because of what I see. It's above his IQ to understand because he's going with what he has seen around him, social engineering. It's done a wonderful job of brainwashing people and keeping us destroyed. And yeah, see, Dave says that was my upbringing with me and my sister. That's right. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've witnessed it with my own eyes quite a few times in my life with other families being around and having friends and being in their home and watching what took place in their home and how they treated their children. And then I get to witness it again here not so long ago with my own family member who has a boy and a girl. And I watched how he's treating that girl over that boy. And I literally watched him throwing that boy under the bus. He literally threw that boy under the bus because the sister asked to have better treatment because it's the girl. It's the girl. It's social engineering. So, people don't stop and think about that. And what you're doing is you're really raising a female who's going to have self-entitlement issues, who's going to be narcissist. And it's perpetuating and helping the problem to stay alive and well. So, for TFLers, you're not really missing out on a lot. I understand I have somebody in my life right now, and I think most of you know this, okay? I spent 28 years of my life alone living TFL. Once I got to puberty and on up, alone, TFL, TFL, TFL. Then my son's mother, lots of years with her. Then the pain and the drama and the agony of everything I went through in that relationship. Few people actually understood and knew what I went through and how I was treated. Even when you love somebody with everything you got, you can only stomach it for so long before you lose. This is where love goes out the door. Drama kills. Drama kills love. Drama kills relationships. Drama even can create its very own killer. In our society today, this is what we've done. We have replaced drama with love, sex with love. And people are getting off on that. They think it's cool. It's all a game. It's a challenge. It's a sport. It's an arena. So really, in reality, what are you TFLers really missing out on? Your chance to not have drama? Your chance to be treated lower than a piece of a turd on the ground? That's really what you're missing out on. I mean, you're missing it so bad, right? It's terrible. It's awful how I can't be treated lower than dirt on the ground. How your pet dog will be treated better than you by the woman you're with because of social engineering and because of other men pampering and spoiling and creating a crazy ass nutcase of a woman. Because that's what you do when you do this stuff. You can't do that. So I can understand why Dave would say, yeah, that was my upbringing with my sister. Yeah. And it's not that he wouldn't love his sister because it's not his sister's fault. She didn't ask for that favoritism. She didn't ask to be put in that position. She was put in that position because of social engineering in our society. So, in a whole, because of the social engineering machine that's gone on for so long in our society, there's your culprit. And that's the problem with this Dr. Helen Smith, the Pastor Dow talked about. She told truth. She really did. But she didn't allude to where the problems come from. She didn't talk about the root cause. She didn't talk about the women who can't get a man in their life is because they're rejecting them. That's right, they're rejecting them. Or they've chosen to be alone because they've stepped into so many bad relationships because of social engineering. Because of chasing after a bad boy, because of chasing after everything, not understanding that what a date really is. No different than the men. Today's society, people don't know what a date is. People want, excuse me, claim they do. They want to say they do, that they know what a date is, but they don't. The majority of you out here think a date is about getting your you know what in a hole. That's right. And for the women out here, it's about finding that perfect fantasy that they have in their head, that bubble, that don't exist. There's no man on the face of the earth that's inside their head, the fantasy they carry in their head, that could ever meet them qualifications. Once again, social engineering. And for the women who went through the era of chasing after the bad boys, see, none of them relationships worked out because it was all about the wrong things. It wasn't about getting to know somebody and liking them and loving them for who they are. Real love does exist, but real love only comes through becoming friends. And what do we have in the dating scene? The friend zone. I've talked about this so many times with you people, and it's the truth. When the woman uses friend zone as a rejection line and runs right off to her next, when her relationships fail, it's because she deserves to have them fail. Because she used the foundation that leads to real love as a rejection line. Because she don't know what she's doing no more than you men who think getting a date is getting lucky. Okay, you don't know what you're doing. And you know what? For these men out here, or these women out here that are focused on looks, because this is another problem we have too, of course, it's not across the board. Nothing ever is. But for the ones that are focused on looks in 1 to 5 seconds, 1 to 5 seconds, you're either going by looks or you're looking to see if they got a Rolex watch on, or you're looking to see what they're driving or what clothes they're wearing, their style. All the niches that you could have from social engineering. Once again, you don't know what you're doing. Because a date has always been for a man and a woman to meet each other. Maybe your first date you went to a restaurant where you got something to eat and you sat down and you got to talk to each other and you start to try to get to know a little bit about each other. It's about trying to become friends and see if you're compatible. See if you have things in common. See if you can hang out together and do things together and have fun. And have good communication. It's about becoming friends. That's what a date's about. The only way you ever find true love, real love, is through becoming friends. If the man and woman fail to become friends, real friends, then they will never find real love. Oh, you can use the words I love you all day long. It doesn't mean you love them. A lot of people, a lot of guys out here use I love you just to get into their pants. There's a lot of women out here that use I love you just to get your damn bank account. Of course, it's not straight across the board, but I think you know what I'm saying. People ain't dumb. They will use what you want to hear and lie to you to get their want. They don't care because it's about their own want. So you need to understand that. You really do. I'm not a fan. I've went overseas before. I went to the Philippines. I met a girl named Religia over there. She was a school teacher, no less. Okay. But I'm not so much of a fan of that anymore. Okay. The women I have had in my life, I got without playing game. That's right. I never played the game. I never put on a phony persona, a phony image to impress no female. Ever. Not even one time in my life have I done that. There's no need for that. That's how you would destroy your chances. Because you're not being real. You're being fake. So what do you think is going to happen when you and her get together and you're a fake? What do you think? You're going to keep pretending to be that person you're not on an everyday basis, 24 hours a day, while you're living with her? Day after day, week after week, month after month? No, you're not. You know why? Because the real you will come out. Because you're putting on an act. You're not being yourself. It's no different for her. The real her will come out. So why do you have to have game in the dating scene? Wouldn't that mean more about a phony impression to put your, where, it'd be all about sex again, wouldn't it? That's right. So, the foundation of a real relationship's been completely destroyed. So I tell people you go back in time. No, 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 we're moving forward in time. We have progressed. And it says, no, you're not. The only thing that's progressed is your technology. You're not moving forward in time at all. You don't understand what's really going on. Don't you know this social engineering that's divided is always deliberately done? Helps them with their agendas. It causes stress, which leads to health problems. That gives the medical system money. Okay? It causes division, which breaks up the family unit and keeps men and women fighting one another. That helps evil with population reduction. So, it's really, this is what it comes down to. So when you had to have game, you already messed up. You're falling for a lie. You need to be yourself. Forget putting on a phony persona. Forget acting like you're something you're not. Forget lying to her to impress her. Maybe you went out and rented some fancy ass car, a Porsche or something, and you saved a bunch of money to go rent this fancy sports car or whatever for a day so that you can go on a date with this girl so you can impress her. But now when you don't own it and you had to rent it, what are you going to do the next time you meet? Go rent it again? What if she wants to get together with you? What are you going to do then? Oh, you ain't got the money to buy it, right? See how your phony persona tells on you? Then eventually you're going to come clean, ain't you? But I suppose if all it's about to you is sex, then you think you've accomplished something and you haven't. Because then the girl eventually gets to the point all these guys want from is sex anyhow. So why do I care? You see how that worked out? It's just like the woman who chases after the bad boy. And she has all of her drama because she thinks she can change you. Because it's the challenge. It's a game. Then when she can't change you, she throws you away. And if she does change you, then she's going to call you weak and a simp and still throw you away. And then she moves on to her next and moves on to her next. And pretty soon, it becomes old hat. She gets so tired of it. And for some of the bad boys she picked up, she hit them and they hit her back. And she didn't appreciate that. She called the cops. And now she lies and says, I never laid a hand on him and he touched me. You're going to jail. If she tells the truth, you both go to jail. See, it's insanity. That you get these children coming along, and now the children's got to have, person I went to school with. Don't live too far away from me up here where I live. I've known her pretty much my whole life, from second grade clear up. And she has 3 kids. All 3 kids are by different dads. That's right. All 3 of her kids are by different dads. This is what our society has bred, man. This is what they've done. So these children all have different dads. That's not good. That's not good at all. That is the destruction of our family unit. That is the destruction of our society. Yep, I know exactly what you're saying, Dave. I've actually been there. I had a gal. Now, I didn't have her meet me and do what she done to you, but this would be similar. I had a gal that I talked to online for 3.5 months. We talked every day, about 2.5 to 3 hours a day. We chatted, we chatted, we chatted, we chatted. We even voice chatted, but she claimed she didn't have a cam. But she wouldn't show me hers, so I didn't show her me, and we just voice chatted using the mics. Okay, she'd call me on the phone, and we talked and we talked and we talked. Okay, then she wanted a picture of me. She was getting set to let's meet each other. so she would know who she was looking for. So I sent her my picture. And within a minute or two of sending the picture, she typed this to me. She says, well, I'm sorry I can't never meet you. Good luck at finding anybody. Most women won't want anything to do with you. And she signed out. And I've never heard from her again. This is the type of low-life trash that we have in our society. This is the mindset. And what was it based on? Oh, it was based on that picture of myself. See, so she had 3.5 months of chatting every single day. From chatting with Mike to calling and talking to each other on the phone. An average of 2 to 3.5 hours a day for 3.5 months. Just for her to do that when she's seen my picture. A bond getting ready to meet each other for the first time. So now, I understand where Dave's coming from. Because this shit does happen. It's the insanity of our society. You know, that was like a wasted time. 3.5 months, all the conversations her and I had for hours on end was just all fucking thrown away because what'd she do? She looked at the picture and said, ew! That's exactly what she done. See, like as if, and you know what's even funnier about this bullshit? Men and women who do this shit, they failed to understand they're not keeping their fucking looks and they're not no damn trophy themselves. The one thing that is for sure, the better looking the woman is, the more of a chance she won't be faithful to you. If she's an 8 or 9 or a 10, forget it, man. She ain't gonna stay with you. Unless you have an awful lot to offer her, like a lot of money. Maybe your name is Bank of America. Yeah. Or maybe your name is First National Bank. Okay, then you might keep her long enough just because you have all that for to spend, but it don't mean she'll love you. Don't mean she'll respect you. It don't mean she won't be cheating behind your back. And it don't mean you're not going to have lots of drama. That's really where that comes from. Why you can't get this to people's heads is because they don't have the experience. Or they're just so desperate to get a female in their life. What do you think I tell people? What are you doing? You cannot focus on putting somebody in your life because this is the stuff you're going to be living. I mean, even now, I got a wife in my life. Once again, okay? But do you think it's drama free? I hate drama with a passion. I totally hate drama with a passion. I don't order her around. I don't tell her what she can and can't do. I treat her with respect. But in return, I do get dumped on by her. And there's times I've come this close to just, I'm telling you, I've come like this close. Just tell her bye. Adios. Get on out. No lie. Because I don't handle drama very well. I stand up for myself and I hate drama with a passion. So when she starts something, I rip her a new asshole and then I go quiet. And why do I go quiet? Because I'm not going to let it escalate. I'll ignore her like she's the plague so that it don't escalate. Because when it escalates, then bad things could happen and I don't want to go there. I'm really no hurry to visit the Crossbar Motel. You know that place you go that has them bars, And nowadays they ain't got bars. They just got a flat, big, heavy piece of steel that goes kabam, You all know what I'm talking about. I'm in no hurry to visit the Crossbar Motel, so I don't allow it to escalate. But I don't put up with the shit neither. I really don't. Well, I'll tell you what. This one ends. There won't be no more. I don't want again. I won't look again. I'll be done. It'll be over with. I'll be done until I'm dead. And that is the fact in your face. That's how this one will work. It's either going to work out or it's not going to work out, but I'm not going to crush myself over it. But I will not date again. I will not try again. I will be MGTOW. I will go my own way and be done with it. That's exactly what I'll do. I already know that in my heart what I would do. I'm not going to put up with it no more. Okay? TFLers don't understand this because the majority of TFLers have never been given the time of day. It's not that they won't be given the time of day, because they very well could. Steve Hoka said some things that is so true. He'll go somewhere and he'll see ugly guys with girls in their arms, what he perceives to be ugly. He'll see short guys with a girl in their arms. He sees these couples together. See, that's because it's not all what people think it is, what's pushed online. Do you think I just meant these girls because I was going by everything that online says? No. So I'm telling you, man, you just be yourself. Screw what mainstream media tells you. That's the last thing you want to listen to is anything that comes off that television set. If it comes off that television set, you can take it to the bank. It's going to be complete garbage. It's going to be a lie. It's going to be propaganda. It's not going to be true. When I see Steve Hogan talk about these Chads on Tinder, and you know what's funny about that? You know who's up at the top of Tinder? How many of you people understand who's actually on the board? I forget exactly what position they have, but they're at the very top of Tinder, and they are directly responsible for what goes on to Tinder. Chelsea Clinton. That's right, Chelsea Clinton. Her mama, Hillary, her daddy, Bill Clinton. Them criminals? That's right. Their criminal daughter is in a high position and responsible for what goes on Tinder. Most of you people probably don't even know that. I told people years ago the dating scene is directly tied into the government. And they told me I was nuts. Oh, you're full of it. No, I'm not full of it. I knew what I was talking about. I'd done my homework. And this is why you get people that renounce it like Jared did. Because Jared did. He came on my radio show lots and lots and lots of times. He was well spoken. He talked about TFL. He talked about politics. The guy was well spoken. He was well versed, and he was telling the truth. Then one day out of nowhere, didn't even see it coming. It's like my back was turned and I turned around and I got smacked in the face by somebody I didn't even know was there. Jared. That's right. And then recently, what do I get to see? At least he's picked the proper name for himself. Because he is staying insane. He's saying nuts. He's done lost his mind. Amongst people who keep their minds. At least he gave himself a proper name. Hi, I am a nut job. And I stand here amongst you sane people while I'm completely insane. And I hate to say that, but that would be the truth. You know. Yes, well, our whole world is sick, Patrick. We have a world full of sick people because of social engineering. Yeah, that's true. But it can't go on forever. You know why? because you're going to watch mankind kill itself off. That's where the end of this will end. When you see self-destruction of mankind, and you get bombs falling, and you've heard me say this before, did I tell you there's times I think just let the bombs drop, let millions and millions of people die, because it's probably the only cure we have when people don't care anymore, because people have lost their ability to care. People want to be wicked and evil. You know, there's something that I totally agree. I mean, Steve Hoka said it best. This came from Steve Hoka the first time I heard it. Okay? People on the internet tend to show who they really are. Yep, I stand with Steve on that. People on the internet tend to show who they really are. Of course, they're hiding behind an avatar. They're hiding behind a fraudulent name. But they're showing you who they really are. And they are some sick, sick people. And with a world like this, there can be no good. There's only one way this world can go. Down. Lots of people die. History replays itself. Dumbness. See, I don't feel sorry for stupidity. I don't feel sorry for dumbness. When you're so dumb, you're so stupid that you just go along to go along. And you don't care if it's wrong when you recognize right from wrong. Because I've told people before, start focusing on right and wrong, right and wrong, right and wrong. Do unto one as you want done unto yourself. But you know, that's like telling that wall to move out of my way. Because the majority of people out here, when I tell you, recognize right from wrong, do unto one as you want done unto yourself, you ignore that, you ignore that, you ignore that, you ignore that, you ignore that. You don't want to hear that, and you're not about to do it. Because that means self-discipline. That's right. That means you'd have to have self-discipline. That means you'd have to practice what you preach. Couldn't do that, now could we? Because we're fraudulent, we're fake. So, you know, if I said let the bombs drop, I wasn't really joking. Not at all. Because what I witnessed and what I see going on should not be happening. But it is. And do I see anybody want to stand up? Nope, not at all. Do I see people want to rise up together? Nope, not at all. I've seen you mindlessly go down that road and you allow them to mindlessly continue to brainwash and you don't care about your children. When I hear people say how much they care about their children, I think on an individual basis, you care about your children, but you don't give a shit about somebody's child down the street. You only care about your own. And that becomes even questionable to how much you actually care about your children. I've seen people throw all of their children under the bus for their own selfishness. Their materialistic items are more important to them. You know, I said this once. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. See, I know this gal. I'm not going to say the name. But her materialistic items were so important to her. And she had a husband and she had a boy and a daughter. She had 2 kids. Okay? She made a statement out of anger and she says, if that damn car breaks down on the interstate, the kids will go before the freaking my stuff goes. I will leave the kids on the side of the road. I don't give a shit. As long as my stuff goes with me. Her personal belongings came over her children. And I used to always think to myself, yep, knick-knack fell off shelf. Knick-knack broke. Then we got the obituary column in the newspaper. Woman loses family member to tragic accident. Her knick-knack fell off the shelf, broken a million pieces like Humpty Dumpty when it hit the floor. And it was a tragic loss of that family member. We should all mourn over the loss of that tragic loss that day. That's sort of how I felt about this because of the fact that she so blatantly put her materialistic items over her children, just like that. And she done that more than once. Her materialistic items was more important than her own children. See, so I have to question it when I see parents. Do they really love their children? Or are these children just a mistake because they couldn't use protection? That's right. To not get? Or did they want the children to get money from the government? Or were they just fitting into society? See, this is the insanity of our world. Our world is so fucking gone. I hate to say it, but it is. So, when you see me say things like that, that's where it comes from. Because, it's so easy to stop the corruption, to stop the powers to be, as easy as counting 1, 2, 3. It don't take guns. It don't take bloodshed. Nope, sure don't. Don't take another war. Nope, not at all. It takes people globally understanding where these criminals are getting their power from and simply saying no and standing down. That's all it takes. Then the powers to be would be the powerless to be. But we all know that ain't going to happen then, right? That's right. Because there's too many of you afraid of a uniform. Too many of you afraid that you won't fit in with somebody else. You got to think with the brain in the jar over on a shelf. Too many of you to turn your back to the real truth. I mean, use your common sense. We live in a world where lying has become completely normal. The media gets to lie to you all the time. They call it propaganda. They made a fancy word up for a lie. They call it propaganda. Okay? So they made a fancy word up for lying. Everybody around you there's nothing wrong with lying. Just about everybody around you is lying on a regular basis. And all these people that are doing this lying, just like the cop, did you know the police have permission to lie to you when they're questioning you? They sure do. They don't have to be honest with you at all. But what is the cop going to tell you when he's questioning you? He expects you to be honest with him. Or she expects you to be honest with her. But they don't want to be honest with you. You see that double standard there? Well, did you know that double standard bleeds through all of our society? Everybody wants to lie, but nobody wants to be lied to. But then when they don't want to be lied to when you tell them the truth, they don't want that neither. That's right. They don't want that neither. They attack you when you tell them the truth. So don't tell me that our world's normal. I feel like we live in one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I feel like this is where we live. We literally live in a nut house. The world's biggest nut house. That's where we live. Shouldn't be that way, should it? No, it shouldn't. But that's where we live, isn't it? cowards after cowards after cowards. So, to TFLers out there, there's a lot of you. Worldwide, there's a lot of you. You really got to understand that you're letting your society screw up and tear up your life. And you have to be willing to turn a blind eye to them and be yourself. So this is really where it comes from. You need to be yourself and stop playing into whatever you saw on your damn TV set. Whatever damn pickup artist, which nowadays is female, just like it's females running the men's rights movement, or just like Dr. Helen Smith. She said all truth, but considering she'd done this book in like 2013, I do believe that was the year. That's been like 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, right? Right? She spoke the absolute truth. But do you see anybody jumping on board with that? Do you see media stopping the male bashing? Nope. What do you see in the new movies and sitcoms and shows that are coming out? Are you still seeing male bashing going on? And double standards? Yep, you sure are. Not a thing's been accomplished. That's right. You know what was accomplished? Dr. Helen Smith made a lot of money telling truth. But we don't want the problem to go away because then I couldn't make more money off of it, right? That's really what it comes down to. We can't have the problem go away because then we would stop making some of the tool. And I don't want to lose some of the tool. So therefore, I got to be able to write my next book about the same problem rather than tackling the problem at its root cause and stopping it. How do you think the women would feel if we could flip all of this around? And we could have all the commercials, the majority of commercials and the majority of sitcoms and movies shaming the women, putting the woman down, shaming the woman, putting the woman down, shaming the woman, putting the woman down. Over and over and over again. And at the same time, we could all laugh. Yeah. And other women could laugh. It could be a joke. That's right. It could be funny. It could be like when this female cut off the man's penis and dropped it in the garbage disposal. Maybe we could get some man who could cut off the woman's breast and drop it in a garbage disposal, and we could get 5 guys up on national TV and we could laugh and joke and fun about it and laugh and joke and fun about it. And then a week later, we could come back and give a fake apology while we're smirking and laughing as we're apologizing because we never meant it. Wouldn't that be awesome? That would be just outstanding behavior, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't be. But is that not exactly what took place from women onto men? Yes, sir, it sure is. And all these simps, that's right, these vaginas sit there and laughed at it. Yep, it was all a show to them. It was all entertainment. It was all funny. So, and Dave is right. If we did this all in reverse, women would be beside themselves and they would be throwing a fit. You'd have riots on the street because the simps would be right along with the women. How could you do this? Look how evil it is. And they would be a big outcry. But while they're doing it to men, oh, that's all okay. It's no big deal. Then you'd wonder why you got a lot of angry men, huh? Then you might ask yourself, why are the men so angry, huh? It's ridiculous. Call from Heather. No. can't do that right now. I think y'all heard that. Just can't do that right now. So, But, I wanted to get up here and have just this little rant just before Christmas. And I hope that all of you do have a good Christmas, for what it is. I see this religious stuff slamming Christmas. People slamming Christmas, how it's a pagan holiday, how it's so evil. Well, let's see, evil, huh? So you mean the one day of the year that in our sick, twisted, evil world, when somebody actually took the time to do what they should be doing all year long and stopped and thought about somebody and maybe went out and used a little monetary or maybe baked something and gave something to somebody because they cared? That's evil, huh? You mean the one day of the year that people might actually care about each other, even though it's only one day, and done something good for somebody else, and we're going to call that evil, huh? Do you see how messed up that is? Do you actually see how messed up that is? If we could all practice what we do on Christmas, minus buying something for somebody, caring about one another, we could turn things around overnight. Ain't nobody going to do that. It takes one day a year for somebody to actually care about somebody else, doesn't it? Yep, that's what it comes down to. Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. That Christmas is evil. It's all about money. Okay? I understand what you're saying. It's all about monetary system, money, and greed. But that's not the point that I'm pushing here. What I'm pushing here is the fact that if you love your family member, if you love somebody that's a friend of yours, and you baked a cake or you just went to visit them and told them have a Merry Christmas, and you know where I'm coming from here? It's the only day of the year that you actually see a little bit of care. Not a lot, but a little bit of care. The rest of the year, you don't see care at all, do you? Oh, yeah, we care about our selfish selves, right? That's what I'm trying to get to here when I say Christmas is the only day of the year that. You remember that cremation of care? It's the only day of the year that you get just a tad bit of that care back in our society. And then people come along and skew that and say how evil that is. They flip good upside down on its head. Because see, Christmas don't have to be about monetary, about spending money. You can give somebody a hug and say, I wish you a happy Christmas, have a great day. You could bake a cake or make some cookies, and you could do something from your heart for somebody because you want to, because you care. I mean, it's the point is it is the only day of the year that we have a tad little dinky bit of care that stands out. It's sort of like on 9/11. After your very own criminals attacked its very own people that you've allowed to run you, you brought down these buildings and killed all these people. Then people cared enough to, oh, and cried and whined and was looking for survivors. But that little bit of care that even happened after 9/11 didn't last very long, did it? No, it didn't. And don't you understand that's what we're missing from our society? Is that care? That ability to care about somebody else? You know, recognizing right from wrong, caring about somebody else you've never even met in your life. When you can care about somebody you've never met in your life, and you can take responsibility to care and recognize right from wrong and do your work and self-discipline, to care about others, then we can change things around. But since I don't see that happening, and I don't think it'll ever happen while I'm still alive here on Earth, then I have to say, if the bombs fall and millions of people die because they've died of ignorance, they've died of stupidity, they've died of selfish greed, lies, they died because they wanted to be insane amongst sane people. Yeah. They died of stupidity, of dumbness. I don't know what else to say. But hey, I got up here, I did my little rant just before I become a year younger. I refuse to be older, so I'm going to become a year younger. That'll be tomorrow. I'll be a year younger. Yep. I refuse to be older, so I got to go back down now a little bit, So, with that being said, hope you all have a good Christmas. And I'm going to get the hell out of here. So, have a good one, people.